Hello everyone! Today I'm gonna be featuring the French Tier 10 battleship, the Republique. Now, I'm actually going on vacation tomorrow, but I'm trying to get a bunch of vids lined up so I can keep posting while I'm on vacation. But for those interested in my stream, it's gonna be on a break for about 10 days as I'm going to Thailand, hopefully not catching the coronavirus on the way. Moving on. The Republic. This is a ship I haven't really featured in maybe 2 years soon. 1.5 at least. It's been ages since I featured a ship. And I've always kind of had a hate-love relationship with the Republic. The reason for this is that the Republic has only 8 guns. I despise low gun count ships in general. Now, some ships can make up for it a fair bit, like for example Georgia or Thunder, by having really good dispersion. But Republic's dispersion, while it's good, it's not amazing. It can be very trolly at times. Unlike Georgia and Thunder, that tends to be significantly more consistent. On the other hand, I'm of course a firm believer in central battleship position. That means I think playing a battleship in a central position and being agile and reacting to different moves on the map is just as important in a battleship as in a cruiser or in a destroyer. And the Republic of course has access to that speed boost, and it's a very fast battleship. So it has things that I really like, the speed, things that I really hate, only having these 8 guns. However, the guns on the Republic, even though they're only 430mm, are enough to overmatch 30mm of plating, and more importantly, the penetration on these guns is really good. We're talking Yamato good at ranges. You can citadel most things. Neptune, I'm holding my fire, I'm waiting. Is he gonna commit to a turn? It looks like he started committing, so I shoot where he's turning. That's something you should generally do. As long as you can maintain vision of a ship, you hold your fire. In this case, Neptune turns full broadside. Well, not full broadside, but gives enough broadside that I can get the citadels in, and I manage to devastate him off the map. But you see a very common pattern here already developing on this map, and that's my teammates are going towards the borders. This isn't unique to mountain range. This happens on pretty much all the maps. People love going to the border because it's less risk of being flanked. It's easier to just basically look one direction, and generally it's perceived as safer. Also, a lot of your teammates tend to go there, so that you have this lemming train thing. I, however, think that the central battleship is one of the greatest strengths in the game. However, there are some small issues this match, particularly that RDD got killed very quickly, and there's a Benham in the middle. And Benham is probably one of the most overpowered torpedo boats in the game. So I can't really push into that because Republic torpedo belt isn't really that special. And although the Republic has these great penetration and this great speed on these guns, the ship itself is actually deceptively squishy. You look at it and you go 92.4k health, what do you mean it's squishy? Well, the French turtleback is kind of hit and miss. It can prevent you from being citadeled, and it can give you some really trolley shatters, people just penetrating your torpedo belt and then shattering on your armor. You can get a lot of trolley volleys, but the trolliness of the armor can work both ways. You can also sometimes eat very meaty citadels, and more importantly, your armor is 32mm pretty much across the board. Bow, stern, deck, upper belt, 32 all over the place. Which obviously means that you are extremely susceptible, for example, to the Musashi we can see in the back. He can overmatch that armor, or just any sort of HE spam, any sort of sap. So, the health pool of the Republic can disappear quite quickly. In this case though, I have teammates who are pushing into the center, so I just start reversing, because I don't want to keep angling away, and I don't want to waste time turning my ship around. So we're just going to reverse and put in as many shots as we can, as long as we dare, hoping that the Benham isn't going to start pushing up over here and torping me. I managed to get undetected between shots. This is very important to keep track of. Notice when you get undetected, because it tells you if the DD is within range. Seeing that I'm undetected, it means it's safe for me to keep reversing towards them. We have one cap. They are generally reversing in general towards the spawn. A should be able to be capped by my teammates as well. So there's really no need for me to play early aggressive. In fact, I quite like my current position. By playing in this central spot, I'm able to get some crossfire shots in on the rest of the enemy ships. So I quite like this position. Republic, though, as I mentioned, I often have issues turning games into wins in this ship, mostly because when you really need that firepower, when you really need the guns to come through, they control you. And they control you so frustratingly hard, and it can even cost you the game in some situations. Ruin, surprisingly, 5 overpens, even though he was angled. Not sure how I managed that, but then again, his armor is fairly thin. It's 27mm plating. You can of course take pot shots at cruisers at all times. You don't need to wait for them to give it that flat broadside, which you for example have to do in the Montana. You can just shoot and shoot and shoot, because no cruiser have, well, few cruisers, not no, but few cruisers have more than 30mm of plating. So in general, if they're not a Stalingrad or something similar like a Moskva, then you can take pot shots at them regardless of their angling. Throwing some shots at the Monarch, surprisingly landed very high on the volley, but at this point I'm just waiting to see what my team in C is going to do. The Benham has actually moved towards A, and for some reason the Alaska, instead of turning, if you look at the minimap, instead of turning to help him, he's turning away, which leaves my Kurfürst all alone against the Benham. And Kurfürst is by no means immune to torpedoes. He can use Hydro to spot them, but he's not immune. So I'm already a bit worried about what's going to happen on that flank. My team is finally choosing to push in. At this point, I'm just waiting. I know the Benham isn't here. The Musashi is playing so far back, as is the enemy Republic, that I have a lot of freedom. I can give a lot of broadside and just wait for these ships to get spotted from the smoke one by one. They have all kind of huddled together in that one position. And playing in the central position, I can easily just wait for them to get spotted and take shots as they pop up, which is exactly what I'm doing. The Republic, once again, I have a hard time. I like the Bourgogne more, because the Bourgogne has many of the similar things of the Republic, which is a lot of speed, flexibility. It's extra squishy though, because the health pool is so low at 74. It has the same issues with the armor and the turtleback. It's extra squishy, but on the other hand, it's got just so much firepower. And it's got something that I like to call RNG compensation, aka main battery reload booster. If you get a really juicy shot, and you shoot with the Bourgogne and the dispersion trolls you, you can reload booster and you can throw out another volley very, very quickly. So you can kind of make, if you put yourself in a good position or an enemy misplays, whereas in the Republic, if you get trolled, you're stuck waiting for the full reload, but in the Bourgogne, if you get trolled, you can just pop that reload booster and get another volley in there to make up for it. And that's really what I like. I managed to devastate a second ship, taking down the Amalfi. His teammate died in front of him, so he was stuck there giving a lot of broadside. At this point, you would think that, well, this is looking like a pretty easy win. I wonder why Flamu featured this. The enemy team, half the enemy team is dead. Like, why would Flamu feature this vid? Like, maybe just a lot of damage? No, because this game was played today, and today is a Saturday. And that means we are in full weekend gameplay effect. Also, it's worth noting that my Shokaku is entirely AFK, something that will play into this game a fair bit in the future. Most importantly though, it means that this Benham has a lot of free reign, because my Alaska opted to not go hunt him down, which is kind of what you should be doing in a radar cruiser. I really should post my Alaska commentary, because I love that ship and I'm getting really frustrated with all these people misplaying it. So, the Benham is getting a lot of free reign because he's not being hunted down by the Alaska, and that means, well, he's just going to be hunting that Kurfürst. And Kurfürst has Hydro, as I mentioned, but having Hydro doesn't mean that you'll be able to dodge. Seeing the torps doesn't mean you'll be able to dodge them, especially not in a massive ship like the Kurfürst. And even a Kurfürst with Hydro can get torpedoed, especially a Benham. And the Benham, as I say that, managed to devastate the Kurfürst, and this Kurfürst here kills two ships that kind of suicided in on him for no reason. He was stuck in a poor position. We could have just sat here and shot him and eventually killed him off, but instead my Musashi and my Drake decided that, well, they needed to rush him. Why did they need to rush him? We don't really know. We weren't in a hurry. We had the points advantage. We had him crossfired, but obviously they thought that was the best call. Rushing in. So now what looked like a guaranteed win is suddenly just a 6 versus 5. Now the enemy battleships are very clustered up, but the question is, will we be able to actually punish them? Because, well, they got some serious firepower there. There's Musashi, Republic, Alsace. Trying to get some citadels in on either, well, the Republic or the Musashi. They're kind of sailing right next to each other, so I'm having trouble lining up the volley. I'd like to kill the Musashi first, because I can angle against the Republic, but the Musashi's big guns will overmatch my armor. I'm a bit keeping an eye out for the Benham. I managed to get a citadel, surprisingly on the Republic, not the Musashi. That's obviously a good example of what I mentioned regarding Republic's turtleback. It's not foolproof. So this means that there's a Benham on the right. Now obviously I don't want to be pushing towards the Benham, and at this point I'm trying to tell my Massachusetts to not go there. I'm hoping he won't go there, but he has committed he wants to go in. Ideally, that means at least my Alaska will go there and help him, so they can two-man him. In the meantime, it's going down to a 5 versus 5, because my Smolensk died. At this point, I decide I can't keep charging in. Here, I need to get rid of at least one of these threats first, and I start by working on this Alsace, because he's giving a lot of broadside going for the 3 de Grosse. Alsace has French turtleback, but with enough penetration, you can punch straight through it, and that's exactly what I'm doing. Next reload should kill him. The dispersion is but it does the job. And at this point I actually have my Kraken and over 200,000 damage. But this game is still nowhere near won. Because this Benham, if the Benham manages to take down the Massachusetts, and if they discover that the Shokaku is AFK, that's an easy way for the Benham to rack up a lot of points very, very quickly. And my 3 de Grosse is kind of just rushing into their spawn, hunting him. So this game can go very, very poorly, very, very quickly. So I decide I have to keep chasing them, even though in general I hate chasing enemy ships in the spawn. If an enemy ship sails like these 2 battleships do, just let them sail away. You don't need to chase them. Like, I can sit right where I am and take pot shots at them, and I'm keeping map control. Look where I am on the map. I'm in the center of the map. I have map control, I can shoot everywhere, I'm defending the objectives. There's no reason for me to chase after them. However, by going this way, and because my Massachusetts and Alaska are there, well, they're gonna start taking pot shots at my teammates. And because my Friedrich Grosse is chasing them, I kind of have to join him, because if the carrier decides to suddenly go for Friedrich, he doesn't have the AA to defend. Republic has fairly good AA. Obviously it's not going to help you much against the tier 10, but against the tier 8 it will make them pause when it comes to striking you. Alaska popped the radar, but it apparently wasn't very effective, because the Benham managed to just outrun them, and he is still alive and causing issues on this flank. The carrier does exactly what I fear he would, and that is he starts striking the Friedrich Grosse. Ideally the Friedrich Grosse would turn towards me, so we could combine our AA and I could help him survive, but he is committed on his course into the enemy spawn. Benham meanwhile takes down the Massachusetts, and what looked like such an easy win has quickly turned into a 4 versus 4. I'm still trying to get to my Friedrich Grosse, but my speed boost is on cooldown, so don't really have any speed advantage to catch up with him. Alaska is amusingly asking for intelligence data, but the carrier is still AFK, as he's been the entire time. Republic switches to HE. I decide I can't take him down. We're gonna try to harass the Musashi instead, who's also farming my teammates. The bombers come in on my Friedrich. I hope he's got enough health to survive them, because at this range there's not too much I can do. Score another 16k on the Musashi. I'm doing a lot of damage to them, but I'm not taking them down, and I need to be taking them down to keep the points in our favor and reduce the damage output they have. My Alaska has decided he wants to keep chasing the Benham, and at this point I'm almost certain the Benham has spotted my Shokaku, so I know I'm kind of in a race against time. This game can go very, very poorly, very, very quickly. My Friedrich finally decides to turn away, and usually that means that he's basically already dead. Most battleships don't understand that they are overextended until they're down to 10,000 health, and then they make some sort of very, very desperate turn, and usually it ends quite poorly. Rocket planes come in, and if I'm not going to be terribly surprised. I finally reached the AA range. You hear my AA? I'm finally able to provide some AA support, and It's at the exact moment when he goes down. And even worse is the Republic HE volley manages to start a double fire on me. And I'm probably going to be plane spotted as well. So I'm forced to damage con the double fire, and I'm harassed by a carrier, so I decide this is a very poor choice. Unlike the Friedrich Grosse, I'm not going to overcommit. We're going to take the safe choice, and I'm take a shot at the Republic, and I'm just going to turn away. If the carrier starts focusing me, I want to be able to dodge his strikes while creating distance between myself and the Republic. Also, I want to keep the Musashi, by turning left, I'm also keeping the Musashi between me and the island between me and the Musashi. So if the Musashi tries to take any shots, the island should be blocking them for now, which gives me time to turn my ship around and perhaps get some firing angles on the Musashi as he tries to sail north. I do manage to get undetected, which is exactly what I want. Musashi has not closed the distance with me. He's still up there taking pot shots at the Alaska. So we're gonna go for the intercept, which means cut them off, perhaps keeping my Alaska alive long enough that he can hunt down the Benham, something he seems to be struggling with a fair bit. Only make these full broadside turns if you're undetected. If you're detected, well, only do them if you're absolutely forced to. But in general, not worth it. 2 minutes left. This should be a pretty solid win, but I want to help my Alaska. I want to help my team, but I see the Shokaku. The Benham has caught the Shokaku, and he takes him down. And he's also got torps out on the Alaska. Amusingly, I however spot the Lexington, and this could be my chance to give our team a significant advantage, because at this angle I should be able to citadel him. But here we get a good example of the inconsistency of these guns. If I was a Borgogne, at this point I would pop the reload booster, and I throw another volley just like that at the Lexington and take him out. However, this is not a Borgogne, this is a Republic. And the guns that just did 22k might on the next volley only do 5k. And right now the Musashi and the Republic are both noticing me and turning their guns for me, and the Lexington has started reversing behind the island as well as throwing more planes at me. I throw 1/3 volley at him, and once again this Persian says no, you will only do 10,000 damage, and I decide there is no way I can get this kill. I still have enough health to disengage. In fact, the Benham guns down my Alaska, and what looked like a clear win is suddenly us in huge trouble. At this point, I want to turn out. I'm waiting to see if the Musashi will shoot. I really want to make the turn, but I think he just shot earlier, so I'm going to take the risk of making the full turn. This is a big risk, but can't afford to stay, because if I get killed off, we will lose the game. So because of the AP volley that came in earlier, and honestly because of the fact that the Republic has been shooting so much HE, I know that the AP had to have come from the Musashi, which is why I was willing to take that risk. Normally making that sort of turn in front of a Musashi is very, very sketchy indeed. I don't want to damage con the single fire, not yet, because the carrier is coming in and you don't know what armament he's coming in with. It's eventually rocket planes, so I'm pretty relieved at this point. As long as I sail away from the planes, I give myself more time, and more importantly, as long as I keep the island between myself and the Musashi, I can't be overmatched. The Republic was also heading north, which means he's heading also behind this island. So I'm making sure that the only thing that can actively strike me is the carrier, and keeping myself hidden from the two battleships. The Benham is too far away to be an active threat. You see, as I mentioned, especially this late when you've been eating HE spam, it doesn't matter what your AA values are, even a tier 8 carrier can just strike you freely. With 3 seconds remaining, or with 15 seconds remaining, I used my damage con because I knew it didn't matter anymore, and I managed to barely survive. And despite my team's honestly best efforts of turning this game into a loss, I managed to keep it as a win. I say keep it as a win because they really tried to throw this one overboard. Game ends, 308,000 damage, 2 devastating strikes, Confederate, Dreadnought, Solo Warrior, because I was left alive against 4 enemy ships, but honestly because we had the cap control, that's all I needed to do, stay alive. Kraken, because I killed, well, 5 of them. Fireproof, tanking HE, and high caliber, once again, a damage reward. So that's a total of what, 8 rewards from a single game, which should have been a very simple win, but as we know, in the weekend, there are no such things as simple wins. Team score-wise is actually pretty underwhelming because there was a lot of lower tier ships and a lot of damage done to ships that didn't result in kills. I did a ton of damage to Musashi, a ton of damage to Republic, probably a 40k to the Lexington as well, but none of this turned into kills, so I didn't get that extra XP boost from it. So it only ended up being a 2500 base XP game, but I thought this was still a good example of the value of that central battleship. If you note that I never really left the center of the map this game. I might have moved towards my spawn or towards the enemy spawn, but I always tried to keep myself as in the middle of the map as possible to be able to shoot at everything possible, without overextending really. Detailed report wise, damage received is a pretty hilarious 147,000 damage. Potential damage 2 million. A fair bit of fire, rocket, all sorts of artillery coming my way. 296 shells fired, 114 hits, 304k damage from there. A lot of different ships and a lot of struggle, but this did turn out to be a win, and I thought this was also a good example of how, especially during the weekend, you should never assume that just because you have a lead, this will result in a win. In my experience, your teammates in World of Warships will do their absolute utmost to turn any potential win into a hard loss. Anyway, let me show you guys my recommended build for this ship. Right, starting off, we have the modules. Consumable wise, you should be running premium damage con, premium heal. At least, if you can afford it, the premium speed boost does help your ship a fair bit, keep its maneuverability. This thing doesn't have the 20% speed boost of the Borgogne, but it's still a pretty damn nimble ship. Upgrade wise, I'm running secondary and AA survival. The secondaries are of course irrelevant, it's more important keeping the AA alive. The reason for this is because, well, did you see me lose turrets even once this game? No. They are very tanky, they can take a hit, so there is no point building into additional turret survival when they are already able to withstand basically Musashis and stuff shooting at me all game. Second upgrade, engine boost for that improved speed boost. Giving it 50% duration is huge. If you don't have one of these, then just run the damage control system. Gun upgrade, very straightforward. The third upgrade should be better dispersion. They are your bread and butter, those 8 guns. Additional tankiness. You can run faster rudder shift, but honestly, this thing is already so vulnerable to HE, and in World of Carrier and Smolensk, not having reduction to HE seems silly. Better concealment and faster reload on the main guns. I do not recommend the legendary upgrade. I think it's absolute trash. Compared to this one, what you actually gain by running the additional main battery loader is you gain 6% reload. You go from 12 to 18 bonus, but it costs you 24% range. So one of your greatest advantages in the ship, that incredible range, gets completely cut down. The trade-off is terrible, and it's absolutely not worth it. The legendary upgrade on the Republic is simply poor. Captain build-wise, priority target, well, I run my standard battleship build on it. Obviously, if you do have John, the Honor captain, with the improved adrenaline rush, it's what you should be running, because especially this ship benefits from it so much. You saw how fast my reload was towards the end. It is very beneficial. Anyways, priority target, adrenaline rush, superintendent, fire prevention, concealment expert, this is the order in which you should be speccing, expert loader, expert marksman, and finally jack of all trades. Flag wise, it's the standard battleship lineup, which means you start off with improving your heal, then you use fire reduction. I wasn't even running it because apparently I am not very intelligent. Flooding reduction, faster speed, faster consumable usage, AA. Then you can mix in things like the ramming flag, which is super useful. I don't think the detonation flag is necessary at all. The only reason I run it is because I like making commentaries and I don't feel like detonating at a critical moment if I'm trying to make a good vid. Anyway, that was the Republic commentary. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you feel like dropping me a sub, I do greatly appreciate it, because I'm trying to grind for 100,000 YouTube subs now. And final reminder, my big 100,000 Twitch giveaway is going to be 2 weeks from now. I'll keep you updated at the end of this vid when it's going to happen, so you guys get a heads up when it's about to hit. Thank you for watching, I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys next time.